Throughout this training module, we will define root cause analysis and explain why it is so important to solving problems you might encounter at work. We will also look at a couple tools that will help you perform root cause analysis. This short module will explain how to use each tool, and then it will apply the tool to a real-world example. When you have a problem, it is important to understand the root cause before you identify a solution. A root cause is the core issue that ultimately leads to visible symptoms. Rather than merely treating the symptoms, root cause analysis helps identify and respond to the root of the problem. For example, imagine you have a weed growing in your lawn or garden. The portion that is visible represents the symptoms of your problem. If you were to simply trim the weed so it is no longer visible, it would likely continue to grow back because the root of the problem was not addressed. Therefore, in order to truly resolve the problem, you must either uproot the plant or kill the root system, as this is the source of the problem. The 5 Whys tool can be used to find the root cause or causes of a problem, which will impact future actions, including determining a solution. It can be used in conjunction with several other tools or as a practical standalone problem-solving tool. After successful analysis, the root cause of the specified issue in the problem statement will be identified. If effectively executed, the root cause of process issues and inefficiencies will be revealed. Individuals can then move on to identifying countermeasures that will correct the problem. To perform root cause analysis using the 5 Whys approach, simply follow these steps. First, pinpoint a specific problem or defect. This is your problem statement. Then ask the first why. Base your answer on what has happened instead of what could or might have happened. Record your response as a short, specific phrase rather than one word or a vague phrase. Then continue asking why 4 more times. For each response to the initial why, ask why 4 more times, framing the response based on the previous why statement. Finally, determine a countermeasure. Based primarily on the 5th why, but also taking into account the other details identified through this process, define a clear countermeasure to correct the problem. It is important to note that not every problem will require you to ask why exactly 5 times. In some situations, you may need to ask more than or fewer than 5 whys. The key is that you continue to ask why until you have reached the root cause and can define a clear countermeasure to correct the problem. Let's look at a real-world scenario and apply the 5 Whys approach to solve the problem. In 1989, a group of consultants were hired to solve a problem. The stone and marble at the Jefferson Memorial were deteriorating. Consultants then began asking why. Why was the memorial deteriorating so quickly? And they discovered the memorial was washed with harsh chemicals every 2 weeks. Why was the memorial washed with harsh chemicals every 2 weeks? Because there was an excessive amount of bird droppings. Why were there so many bird droppings? Because the birds came to feed on the numerous spiders. Why were there so many spiders? Because they came to feed on the vast swarms of insects each night. Why were there so many insects at the monument at night? Because they were attracted to the high-powered lights used to light the monument at dusk. The consultants had finally reached the root cause, and they were able to determine a countermeasure. The solution was to wait until 30 minutes after dusk to light the memorial. By incorporating this simple change, it reduced the amount of bugs by 90%, which ultimately eliminated the need to wash the monument every 2 weeks, which helped preserve the memorial. Fishbone diagram, also known as a cause and effect diagram or Ishikawa diagram, is a helpful tool utilized to brainstorm potential causes of problems while keeping creative analysis alive in your teams. The Fishbone tool prompts the question, why is this problem occurring? As the diagram is developed, more and more potential causes come to light. If effectively executed, the root cause of process issues and inefficiencies will be revealed. Individuals can then move on to identifying countermeasures that will correct the problem. After successful analysis, the root cause of the specified issue in the problem statement will be identified. To build a fishbone diagram, simply follow these steps. First, write the exact problem you are trying to solve. Identify who is involved, what the problem is, and when and where it occurs. Write the problem on the right-hand side of the diagram and draw a line horizontally from the box. Next, identify potential categories of the problem. Write the categories as branches from the main horizontal line. Then brainstorm all the possible causes of the problem. Write these as branches from the appropriate category. For each potential cause, continue to ask why. It may be necessary to drill down a little bit deeper for some potential causes. After writing down all of the potential causes, analyze the diagram and prioritize the most likely causes. Finally, find relevant data and investigate the most likely causes to prove the root of the problem. You will know you have found the root cause when you can turn the problem on and off by controlling that root cause. Now let's look at an example. Imagine a local restaurant receives bad reviews on its burgers. The restaurant owner might use a fishbone diagram to determine the root cause. To do this, let's begin with our problem statement. Now that we have our problem statement and our main line, we can begin drawing branches to the relevant categories. Now we can look at each of our categories and brainstorm possible root causes that would lead to a bad burger. Some of these potential causes, we can ask follow-up questions and drill down to a more specific root cause. At this point, our diagram is fully developed, so it is important that we analyze each of these potential causes and we prioritize the ones we think will be most likely. The final step is to identify facts and data that are specifically relevant to our potential causes. And keep in mind that some problems will have more than one root cause. In our scenario, the bad burgers could be a result of insufficient training along with using meat that was not fresh.